Welcome to The Experience Live with Russ and Scott. Join us every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Learn more about the Experience community at our website, local.theexperience.video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The Experience is brought to you each week by these great sponsors. The Aspects of Aging weekly talk show with Christine A. Smith. Each Monday at noon Central, Christine hosts unscripted conversations with experts. Learn more at agingbetternetwork.com. Laura Gillott and the Gillott Home Team. Real estate for the Mid-Willamette Valley. Call the office at 541-451-2211. Learn more at teamgillott.com. The Jim Kuhlman Insurance Agency. Since 2003, the best in auto, home, business, life, and even pet insurance. Call them today at 451-753-2500 and online at jimkuhlman.com. 10D Tech. Managed services, cloud services, data backup and recovery, cybersecurity services, and more. Call 10D Tech at 541-250-3672 and online at 10dtech.com. And now let's get on with the show. And that show is beginning. Welcome to The Experience Live with Scott, because Russ is on vacation this week. So we just saw him. He popped into the backstage video that we do every week with Shri, and that is on Instagram only at 6:30 a.m. Pacific time. I happen to be in the Pacific time right now. Normally I'm in Texas, but I'm in Oregon, and maybe we'll mention some of the stuff that's going on there. But I'm just grateful to have Dr. Geoffrey Webster as our guest today on The Experience Live with Scott, because again, Russ is on vacation. We're letting him spend some time with his family, and but we are here live every week: Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. This converts to an audio podcast. You can listen on Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Find it there. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you have your own YouTube channel, please share with us that link. We would love to follow you as well. And here's the interesting thing. If you have 100 followers on your YouTube channel, you're like in the top 10% of YouTubers all over the world. So, we're glad to be able to help each other out. So, as I said, Russ was going to be jumping in from his family vacation. And so here he is saying, hello, Scott and Dr. Geoffrey Webster. And so he is watching us from Maine. So, and as Russ says, you can learn everything about us. Go to our website, go to the webpage, local.theexperience.video. You can see all about marketing with Russ Reels, the Experience Live with Russ and Scott, the Experience Local that we do on Monday, which is broadcast on 2 radio stations in Oregon, and my show, The Waco Experience, an American Story, which broadcasts on KBBW right out of Waco, Texas. With that, Dr. Geoffrey Webster. Good morning.
I just want to say good morning to everyone. And hey, Russ, we see you sending in the messages. Truly appreciate everything you're doing. And Dr. Scott, appreciate being able to be here and meet with everyone and share ideas and all that good stuff. So thank you for such a great privilege to participate. I appreciate it.
And thanks for the promotion. The D is for Dennis, not doctor, but anyway, you do have a doctorate. So
yes, I do.
So tell us where in the world you're located and what's going on in your world. Give people an introduction.
Got it. I'm in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Been here for over a decade, and Texas is a little sunny right now and a little warm, which you guys probably know about. We have been blessed not to experience a lot of the floods. A bunch of people have been asking about that, but we are aware that those have occurred all over Texas. Things that just have been going on here recently is launching some new services to support the small business market that has some needs on being able to have access to more funding. But and then some other things we've launched is helping some clients go after some cost savings that they didn't even know they were aware of. But other than that, things are going okay, and things are going okay. Thanks for asking.
So let's get into your educational background. So
okay,
you have a doctorate. So
yes,
what was your undergrad degree in, and where did you go to school?
Got it. So my undergrad was in computer science. I actually started my education at Case Western, but finished my degree in computer science at the University of Cincinnati, and joined Procter & Gamble, worked there for several years, and then I moved into working in the third-party temperature-controlled industry, and that is where I got my master's degree from Portland State University, and I got that in quantitative analysis and marketing.
Portland State Vikings.
Yes, and I do want to give a shout out to Roy Cox, who was my manager at that time. He was an executive at a company that doesn't exist in that exact same name anymore, but he was a great person taking the time. So that's how I got my MBA. And then over time, my mother used to tease me about me having a positive mind and using it. And, she encouraged me to get my doctorate degree when I was younger. But, here I am, was married and multiple kids, and heard her voice and said, you know what, I am going to go get it. And so I got my doctorate degree in business. I focused in on program and project management, and I got that from the University of Management and Technology, which is headquartered in Virginia. And I do want to shout out Dr. J. Damison Frame, who started that school, along with Dr. Yap Ping Chin. They are magnificent people, and they were one of the first programs to offer the GAC, where or have a GAC-approved doctorate program and project management. So they are wonderful people, and they care about the students. They're continuing to drive the discipline of project management being used across all industries and across the world globally. So that's the educational piece. Can I answer your question?
No, that's great. It's just good to kind of get a little background on that. And so you got your undergraduate degree, went into work, and then continued with a family, getting your graduate degree, getting master's, PhD, doctorate degree. And it was funny because I remember we had small children, and I got my master's degree. And it wasn't 9:45. It was always till 10 p.m. for 2.25 years working on my master's. And then there's homework and group meetings and all that stuff that goes with it. And my wife said, as long as we have small children, as long as we have children at home, you're not getting your doctorate. So, and that was fine. But one of the things, Geoffrey, that you mentioned was your employer, and then after you graduated, and you went to work, your supervisor, the leadership there supported you.
So, Roy, it was a different company. I got my degree while I was at AmeriCode in Portland, and so that was a totally different organization. But he definitely supported me, and so did other leaders at that firm. Procter & Gamble, by the way, did encourage their employees. Just at that time, I was working a lot, and it just didn't work out. And not to say I wasn't working when I got my master's degree either. Very much like you, I had one child at that time, and it was a lot to be able to get through studies because they're young, and that particular child came and drew on some of my homework, and that was back when you and I still had to turn things in via hard copy versus electronically. So I had to reprint out and redo some of it over again. But yeah, it is invaluable to have support from and give you those moments to leave the rush to class, or allow you to be able to study at work for 30 minutes or 45 minutes or even an hour during your lunch break, or come in later, whatever it is. In addition, in some cases, they gave monetary support based on the GPA. So it's very, very important to know about those programs too and apply for them. So I definitely commend Roy. And at that time, it was Americo Logistics, and now it's a totally different company that got bought. And so I don't know what they're doing, but I do want to acknowledge that it was very supportive. But when I got my doctorate degree, I was with a company, so I don't want to badmouth them, so I'm not going to say their name, that had funding and things that they give to folks from a doctor's standpoint, but they were not supportive of me or others for whatever reasons. They just didn't move forward. So I started on my own. Over time, I switched to another employer, which was Fidelity, and they did not provide financial support for a doctorate degree, but they did provide what I call study time support and encouragement with ideas and information. So I do want to acknowledge that company in that way. But I had to pay for everything out of my pocket. It took several years. I switched theses, but I made it through, and I'm delighted. So I encourage anyone who wants to continue to grow and develop their skill sets, do it a piece at a time, a segment at a time, but you will pull through. So it's about endurance and consistency.
Yeah, I think there's kind of a movement now to say you don't need higher education. You can learn everything on YouTube, or there's the courses and stuff. And for some things, that's probably true. But there is still deep value in the traditional education that we can get. One of the things I want to pursue this just a little bit deeper, because I am going to the Career Summit. Uplift Leadership here in Oregon is running a Career Summit at the University of Oregon for students, a sleep-in camp for 4 days for the students. And I remember when I was graduating college and was applying for jobs, and my father was an HR guy. So, I'm turning to him for advice. And one of the books that he gave me was, What Color's Your Parachute? And it's in version, I don't know, whatever, 500th edition or something like that of it now. The one thing that I remember was the advice in there said, don't look for your first job. Because everyone kind of has this ideal dream job. When you're graduating with computer science, you have this, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I want to know what company I want to work for. The advice in there said, don't look for your first job. Look for your first supervisor, that person who will provide support and encouragement, be willing to invest in you. And there was a meme that came out years ago that said one of the senior leaders in the company was saying, what if we train our people and they leave? And the other leader says, what if we don't train them and they stay? So let's talk a little bit more about your experience, and then I want to get into how what you've learned with these companies applies to how you help companies today, as you said, find revenue or minimize expenses.
Got it. I was thinking of several things that as you were talking, and so much runs through the mind sometimes, and I'm trying to pull out what I think are the things that would be helpful. I think I'm gonna take a bifurcated approach here. So I'm gonna go path A and path B. Path A is the individuals that don't pursue higher education from a standpoint of the bachelor's, master's, and doctorate, and path B is those who do. On path A, I can think of a range of phenomenal individuals like Sid Jones, a friend, the son of a friend of mine. He loved cooking ever since he was in high school, and he did not view formal education as the path for him, even though he was a good student in school. But he wanted to really develop his culinary skills and his ability to be able to please the people he served via their palates and the smell and the look. That being said, he actually was trying to figure out what that would look like. And he found different types of culinary schools and went to one. fast forwarding, he wound up working for several restaurants to a point where he became a head chef. And I may not have the terms correct, but I know you know what I mean. He's the number one in charge of how food gets purchased, the setup and all that. And I remember going in town one time to visit him, and his mother had said, hey, he's at this new restaurant. And I was a vegetarian, and he had never fixed certain things for a vegetarian before. And I went, and he found some organic tofu and how to sizzle it and cut it and decorate it a certain way. And so the point I'm making is, if you're passionate about something, you still need to do something to develop your skill set. And it's more than just trial and error. And so he went and got some additional exposure to ways to do things, and it applied to a point that he continued to advance, and he did not go the formal education route. Yes, he did attend what could be considered a trade school, but he did other things in addition to going and watching chefs at other restaurants and why they did have the interest and then the mindset to continuously learn and grow. That's path A. On the B side, I went to school because I wanted to take the time to further develop. And I wanted certain skill sets that are just not as easily developed on the fly, even though computer science is a field that has a lot of growth potential in different ways. Actually being in course and learning things and getting the formal training was very helpful to me. So when I came out, and I was working for P&G, and I summer interned with them and other companies already, that I was able to deliver value immediately. So with that computer science degree, that was extremely helpful. I went back for my business degree because sometimes if you're a technical person, you're viewed solely as having that technical skill, and people don't see any of the other managerial, soft, or leadership skills. And so I went, and quantitative analysis, and aggregate and present information to leaders at various levels and all that kind of stuff. And I worked with people globally at Portland State. I had classmates that were from Japan and Africa and Europe, and we went in on a panel to build a business and then actually present to different leaders at the university and businesses at the universities. We had that type of development and support from the program. Moving forward, the doctorate degree, like I said, my mother had encouraged me ever since I was younger to think about it. And it just came to me one day that I wanted to challenge myself further. And so going for that, it is a lot of folks don't realize that doctorate degrees are 3, 4, 5-year programs. Well, it actually took me an extra year to complete mine for a host of reasons. Where I will say that what I learned from a project management standpoint has been crucial in the way that I approach and service some clients today. Simple things make a difference. And when I say a simple thing, even though it is something that somebody say they can learn on the job, the format and flow of information for managing a project, there's just other things that I learned from being in the class that I can apply to a client. May not apply it to the next one because it may not be relevant, but for another one, I now have that knowledge. And if I don't recall it, there's times I go back into the notes from the course or even from my PMP certification and say, here's a way to go about presenting this or doing this analysis or managing a stakeholder in this way and getting other people involved for us to move forward. So the formal path gives other types of skill sets that may be needed for a client or for your colleagues to be able to move forward. Again, I don't want to take away from anybody who learns on the job, because some companies do provide training, but training does not always fill the void of actually completing something in a course and you come out and you go like, hey, this does fit my job, or even while you're learning, applying it while you're on the job. So I wanted to make that point that I have my doctorate. I still take the time to learn it. Artificial intelligence. I was working with robots to deliver product in warehouses to pickers. And now the world of, all this artificial intelligence, perplexity, Copilot, Gemini, ChatGTP, they're productivity tools. A lot of folks say, I'm not going to use them you're not using them to replace you. You're using them to help you increase your productivity. And so being at the University of Maryland Global Campus as a professor has allowed me to learn more and more about that ChatGTP, for example. And it has made a huge difference from a productivity standpoint for me, where I can say, here's something that I want, it pulls it out. And then it's built me a frame. I can edit that frame because it doesn't know me. I know me and I know the content better, but it gave me the frame that I couldn't think of as quickly to be able to convey the message or present the point or get things done or build out portions of the curriculum. So I hope going those two different paths show that I value the human person and continuous learning more so, whether it's informal education or more formal education. But whatever you do, continue to focus on growing and be open to new strategies and innovation.
So here it is on the experience with Dr. Geoffrey Webster today, learning new words, bifurcating. And we just were able to follow these two paths. I love that you jumped into the AI side of it. And this is one of those things that people are starting to understand a little bit more, because as we continue to use AI, we say, well, it all depends on what you stuff into it, right? What knowledge you put into it. And this is what you did with your education and your experience. You loaded your brain with all this information and knowledge. And I'm just going to go back and give a plug for formal education to say, so my undergraduate was in business and finance with a minor in behavioral sciences, psychology, cultural anthropology, sociology, the group, the individual, how we relate to each other. But could I have learned that stuff? Probably, maybe. But I'll tell you what, focused, intentional learning loaded up my brain with that stuff, just like we're doing with AI, with the large language models, the LLMs. We're stuffing them full of information that we can pull. The benefit with AI is it doesn't forget. That chapter, it remembers everything, and so it's able to pull that out. I was just reading an article in Fortune magazine, and Mark Cuban was saying that it's a necessary skill to understand AI today. And that just like you have to learn the Office suite, how to use email and how to use spreadsheets and how to use word processing that's a given today. And Geoffrey Moore, who wrote a number of books like Thriving on, Inside the Tornado and Bridging the Gap, a couple of different books. He talked about things that are core and context, and core things that differentiate you, and context are things that you just need to play. So at one point, learning how to use a spreadsheet, that differentiated you in the market. It's just that you have to have that to play. Being able to use AI in your business today to make you more efficient, to provide faster analysis of information, to aid your decision making is a differentiation today. But let's talk about tomorrow, and let's talk about how I want to get back into your clients and how you help clients and how you people engage with you. Who is it that would come to Dr. Geoffrey Webster?
Okay, so that's a great question, and loaded it in with talking about what I do with clients with AI. So first of all, clients refer to me as a business growth strategist because I really help them with revenue and productivity type issues. I'm also a published author, and the title of my book is Success is Through Discipline. So with that being said, the type of clients that I deal with are small business owners to medium-sized business owners, typically in the $3 million to $500 million range. I'm industry agnostic. However, if I do work on consulting engagements, then it's executives that are typically finance, chief operating officer, or business owners that want to address something from an operational efficiency standpoint. So that's the short skinny on me from a business model and ideal candidate profile and industry and size. As far as how I've used AI with clients today, let me give you some examples. And I love how you use the term differentiator versus context. And I want to make a slight change to that. Yes, there are still opportunities where AI is being a differentiator. But I think some folks are starting to realize that a lot of stuff is moved now into context and they need to catch up. So I would give you some examples. I can't use the client's name due to contracts and things that were in place, but there's a particular client that I have that's huge. Huge in the mid-market space. And I think of this particular client because they do everything manually with some technological things for training their employees and technological and using tablets and things of that standpoint to gather and share information. But one of the things I noticed is they were always taking the time to develop all types of things always from scratch. And as you know, it takes a long time to do that for everything, as well as always running off something that's proprietary. It takes a lot to enhance it, maintain it, and see if it can even match other things. So now that I've given that as a background for this particular company, we presented to them information that said, hey, look, here's things that are going on in your particular industry with some of your competitors. And their competitors were using AI, not for decision making, but for data gathering and research in regards to prospect and potential lead interest. You know, what was the biggest concern that those particular entities had that was being addressed or weren't being addressed? And my client was just taking the time to always build out surveys, do a few focus groups, or not doing anything at all. And once we showed how AI was being used and we said, let's just do a prototype for a certain set of concerns that you have where you just don't have to do all the research, but you're setting up a set of queries that allows you to run and go after information you want. And they had a lot of ahas because they didn't even realize that existed. And instead of needing a whole bunch of people to do it, you just needed one person that could actually run the information a certain way. And they got to a lot of key insights that they could go after. And they wouldn't have done that way had not it been presented to them. So AI is now helping them, as I'm going to call it, to be able to go out and get voice of the customer, voice of the potential client much faster than they would have via other means. So that's one example. I do want to say this because I'm seeing leaders, business owners, and business influencers just really miss the boat on a number of things, whether it's AI or new strategies. So I'm just going to say new strategies or innovations. And they miss it because one, they're not paying attention. You know, they feel like they know everything or whatever it is. So number one, they're not paying attention. Or number two, they may have heard something and may even have the understanding, but they don't follow up. So one, don't pay attention. Two, don't follow up. Three, adverse to change, averse to newness, averse to innovation. That's the third one. And then the fourth reason why they miss out, and again, I've talked with other colleagues and this is what we came up with. The fourth reason why they miss out, they just don't make something a priority. So it's a low priority. So I'm going to say this right now. AI is already allowing your competitors, your clients, your employee that left you to go somewhere else to get a better position and to be able to be more productive, not because AI is thinking for it, but because they have figured out how to use it as the productivity tool to allow them to do more with less. So if you're that business leader that matches any one of those four things that I just described, you're missing out.
Well, as we wind down, I'm going to put your contact information up here so people can find you on LinkedIn and through your website. GeoffreyWebster.biz is good. Are there other ways that people can reach out and connect and learn more about you and your business?
I'm on LinkedIn. Connect with me on LinkedIn. A lot of people do DM me like after the last show, so that's great. I'm also on Facebook and Alignable. Send me an invite. Let's get connected. And I'm more than willing to share ideas and learn more about you and your business and how we may be able to help each other.
Well, it's fabulous talking to you today. And I know it's just, the time goes so fast. We've covered education. We've talked about kind of your entry into career and how AI is such a great productivity tool.
Yes.
There's just much more to delve into. I wish we had more time today. What are the final thoughts that you would like to share with folks as they're moving forward in their businesses and their careers? And then we'll sign off for today.
All right. I would say take time to reduce the stress, develop yourself, and move forward with folks in the spirit of camaraderie.
I love that. And with that, I'm going to put this back up and say thank you to everybody for joining us here on The Experience Live with Russ and Scott. Even though Russ is on vacation in Maine with his family, we did see him on Instagram on The Experience Backstage earlier today with Shri. And but tune in every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Pacific here on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. And remember, it turns into a podcast on Spotify, and you can always share this out and learn from the most remarkable people on the planet that we have here, like today's guest, Dr. Geoffrey Moore. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye to everybody, and we'll see you all soon.
Thanks for tuning in to The Experience Live with Russ and Scott. If you enjoyed today's show, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or subscribe on YouTube. See you next time.